Dear students, I welcome you all to the second lecture of Maharaja Ganga Singh lecture series organized by the Department of English, Maharaja Ganga Singh University, Bikaner. Dear students, yesterday we talked about grammar and good grammar. Before I come to the topic bad grammar, on which I would like to speak to you today, I would like to summarize what we did the other day. We said that grammar is a mechanism. This mechanism can further be defined as a set of rules according to which a language works. By giving you a metaphorical comparison, I explained the term good grammar and I said it is like personal hygiene. If you ignore the personal hygiene, you ignore your health. Similarly, if you ignore good grammar, you run the risk of being underestimated either as incompetent or inefficient speaker. Today I shall talk to you on bad grammar, and as I said to you the other day, I divide bad grammar into two parts, or rather types. Number 1, intentional bad grammar, and number 2, ugly grammar. Nowadays you must have come across the two terms or the two phrases, physical distancing or social distancing, and the other one, lockdown. Have you ever thought of the grammaticality of these two terms? And perhaps the answer would be never ever. If we go to good grammar would say that these terms are not in accordance with the rules of grammar and therefore they should not be used. But we are making use of these two terms in our everyday life, and we are doing it because communicatively they are very effective. Now this type of invention is kept into the category of intentional bad grammar. Now when we talk about intentional bad grammar, it is creative and inventive. In other words, it is a deliberative action on the part of the user or the speaker. When the speaker uses intentional bad grammar, he knows why he is doing it, he knows what he is doing, and he knows how to break the rules. And when he knows how to break the rules, he can do it very judiciously to make his communication very effective. Nowadays, again, two terms are very much in use: hand wash and hand rub. For example, the sentences like please hand wash frequently is very much in use. But if you go to the absolute grammar or the good grammar, it would say please wash your hands regularly, is more appropriate than the other construction which I spoke earlier. But then if we think about the grammaticality and the communicative impact of the two construction, you would say or you would realize that the phrase hand wash when used as a verb is more effective rather than when we are making use of the sentence please wash your hands frequently. Same is the case with hand rub also. Now why are the speakers breaking these rules? And this breaking of the rule, you will find, is very common in the case of poetry, in the case of other writings, in the case of advertisements, and several other things. Now, sometimes they become the requirement because the writer would like to convey the message in a way that would suit to the listener. And therefore, sometimes the intentional bad grammar is situationally or contextually determined. For example, if I say I bid you farewell now or I bid you goodbye now is perfectly okay. But usually I bid you goodbye now will not be spoken by a junior person to a senior person in the case of the speaker being an Indian. He would prefer to say, I would like to take your leave now rather than saying I bid you goodbye now. Now if you go and try to apply the norms of the English, then you would say it cannot be considered up to the mark. But the user of the intentional grammar knows that he is doing it to convey the cultural impact of the language. Because language is a socio-culturally determined behavior, and therefore it can be adapted and it can be molded the way the speaker would like to do that. And therefore intentional grammar does not convey any lacunae on the part of the speaker. He is rather deliberately breaking the rules. And therefore, intentional bad grammar is not the result of ignorance. Rather, this is a result of deliberation. And therefore, when the user of intentional grammar is making use of an error, he is not committing an error. He is rather making a mistake. And when we talk about the difference between the two, error and the mistake, there is an obvious difference between the two. When we talk about errors, errors are the result of ignorance, whereas mistakes are deliberately committed so that the desirable and perfect communication may take place. To summarize what I have said so far is that intentional grammar does not speak of or bring about ignorance on the part of the speaker. It is an act of deliberation, it is an act of creation, it is an act of invention. And the writer or the user or the speaker, they are doing it deliberately so that the effective communication may take place. After having talked about the intentional bad grammar, I come to ugly grammar. Ugly grammar is the reverse, the absolute reverse of good grammar. It is neither permissible nor acceptable. When a writer or a speaker or a user is making use of ugly grammar, he is sending a very bad impression. Now, the use of ugly grammar speaks of ignorance, that the writer is or the speaker is or the user is not aware of the norms of grammar. And therefore, he is committing the errors. The errors that he commits may be of various types. They may be grammatical errors, they may be registerial errors, they may be referential errors, or they may be any other error. Now, when I talk about the registerial error, when the user is making use of or confusing the word air with the word vent, he is making use of referential error. Registerial error occurs when the user is confusing the domain or the one domain with the other domain. Like he is making use of the word referee in place of empire. Grammatical errors You know well there are several, and they are also the result of the ignorance or the incompetence of the user. Now the another very important error is the social error, which is taken cognizance of in the ugly grammar and leaves a very bad impression when the speaker commits the social error. For example, when I talk to you as students and I come to the class and I say, my august student, rather than saying my dear student, I am committing the social error. Because when we talk about or when we make use of the word August, we make use of the word August for the person whom we hold in respect, not the objects whom we love. And you being the lovable objects and the objects who would impart me regard and respect, I am not supposed to make use of the word August for you. Of course, it can be used ironically by me in order to arouse a laugh. So what I have said is, ugly grammar is just the reverse of good grammar. It speaks of the incompetence on the level of the user or the speaker or the sender. Now, ugly grammar results, for example, some very typical example, when we say there was a boy rather than saying they were boys. I have committed a grammatical mistakes that links it with ugly grammar. So sad, I would like to talk about some very confusing area. Now there are certain areas or constructions or sentences where we are in confusion and do not know where to put them. Should we put them in the category of intentional grammar, or should we put them in the category of ugly grammar? Like if I say I saw 3 females, rather than saying I saw 3 girls or 3 women. Now people say that they are making use of the word female for communicative impact. In what way the communicative impact is created is to be determined both by the user and the speaker. Similarly, when we talk about it, I say I am an English teacher. That is, I am a teacher who teaches English. What I am doing is I am confusing the word English. The word English can be used both as a noun as well as an adjective. And when I say I am an English teacher, English has been used as an attribute, and therefore it means that I am a teacher who comes from England, and not necessarily a teacher who teaches English. But if I say I am a teacher of English, English is a noun and the meaning is very well communicated. But even when we say I am an English teacher, the counterpart very well comprehends the meaning, and therefore we may not bother about such constructions. But at the same time, we as students of English need to bother about the fact that we need to be a model before the society, and therefore whatever we speak, we should speak that is ideal, that can be used as a model by the student. To summarize, I have talked to you about 2 things today: intentional bad grammar and number 2, ugly grammar. And I have tried to illustrate them by giving you certain examples. Because of the time constraint, I would not like to illustrate them further by giving you the examples that I will do perhaps in the next class. Thank you so much.